Good morning and welcome to Hampton National Historic Site. This historic site is located 13 miles north of downtown Baltimore, just outside the Beltway. The site has over 62 acres of buildings and spectacular landscapes. We're going to be taking a brief tour today with a focus on two buildings that we're going to be comparing and activities later on. The two buildings are the Mansion House, built 1783 to 1900, and the dairy, built probably just about when the Mansion House was completed, about 1790. We're going to be looking at how both these buildings were kept cool in the 18th century and how they work today. Look at the top of the house. That structure at the top is called a cupola. The cupola has a number of windows in it. I want you to think about those windows as we think about how the house stayed cool. Another thing I want you to focus on are all the windows. Are they symmetrical? Are they randomly placed on the house? I want you to think about that too. I also want you to think about all the sounds you're hearing. The insects, the birds. We're out in a rural area. We're in an area where things would have been cooler naturally because there would have been more trees. The animals that you hear live in those habitats. All right, now we're going to go from the Mansion House to the other building we're going to compare, and that is the dairy. I'm going to spin us around till we get to the dairy. And here it is. We're across the road. We're in the farm complex, and a dairy is a building where you kept food, particularly milk, cool, and you also made butter and cheese. Take a look at this building. What do we notice about where it's sitting on the landscape? Is it up at the top of a hill, or is it actually built into the ground? Take a look at the roof. Is it a substantial roof that covers the windows? Is it a small roof that just basically keeps the rain out? Think about that. Lastly, take a look at the windows. What do you notice about those windows? Are they in the shadow of the roof? Are they under the roof? Do you think the windows go opposite each other so the air can go through? Think about that. Lastly, I want you to focus on the vegetation, the plants that we see growing just near the dairy. They're an indication of something going on in the landscape. They're an indication of water. We're going to go take a look at the dairy building and think about how water also helps the building to stay cool, and how the water worked historically when the building functioned as a dairy.